In the eternal struggle between principle and pragmatism, few lives burn brighter than that of Paul O'Dwyer. His path was not chosen for comfort or convenience. It was carved from conflict, resistance, and an unyielding belief in justice. Paul O'Dwyer was not the kind of man who fit easily into history's official portraits. He was the brushstroke that smudged perfection, and gave it soul. He fought not just for causes, but for the people behind them. He stood where the fire was hottest. In the segregated South, he stood beside Fannie Lou Hamer. In Chicago, he took blows from police batons defending anti-war protesters. In Northern Ireland, he whispered peace into ears long deafened by blood. And yet, he was not alone. By his side, in name but not always in nature, stood William O'Dwyer, his brother, his opposite, his reluctant companion in legacy. Bill, suave and political, rode the machine of New York power. Chauffeurs, headlines, backroom deals, Bill knew how the world worked, and worked it to his favor. Paul chose the harder road. The lonelier one. He defended the killers, the protesters, the accused, the exiled. He didn't chase approval. He chased fairness. The tension between these brothers didn't weaken their bond, it defined it. From County Mayo to City Hall, from dusty Irish classrooms to the bright courtrooms of Manhattan, their lives were a clash of ideals. One built on compromise, the other built on confrontation. Paul didn't settle for sides. He supported Irish Republicans, but refused to vilify Protestant paramilitaries. He backed Zionists but marched for Muslims. He defended the gay community in the shadow of AIDS, and shouted truth in the face of American foreign policy hypocrisy. In 1993, he found himself whispering in the ear of Bill Clinton. A whisper that may have sparked peace in Northern Ireland. A whisper carrying decades of resistance, love, and sorrow. He wasn't trying to be liked. He was trying to be right. That made him dangerous, beautiful, and impossible to forget. In Alligator, Mississippi, he wasn't a guest, he was a guardian of the vote. In San Antonio, he wasn't a lawyer, he was a lifeline for jailed Irishmen. In New York, he wasn't just an immigrant, he was a defiant son of Ireland, daring the system to blink. His brother sent men to the electric chair. Paul tried to save them. Bill used politics like a sword. Paul used it like a hammer. They fought, they disagreed, but they never broke apart. Their bond, imperfect, stubborn, relentless, wasn't just familial. It was historical. It was human. The son of a poor Irish village, Paul O'Dwyer believed the law belonged to the people. Not to power, not to money, but to the ones no one else stood up for. And he stood up. Again and again. He was brave when it cost him. He was loyal when it made him lonely. He was radical when it mattered most. Even when his brother Frank was gunned down, Paul refused to seek revenge. He did not call for death, even for the man who killed his own blood. That's not neutrality. That's moral clarity, so rare, so raw, so real. He didn't worship institutions. He challenged them. He didn't follow power. He confronted it. There's a temptation to romanticize him. But Paul O'Dwyer didn't need romance. He needed witnesses. He needed those who would tell the truth of what he did, who he helped, where he stood. He didn't live to be liked. He lived to be heard. And when he spoke, injustice shook. When he challenged the Vietnam War, it wasn't just politics, it was pain. When he fought for the miners in Kentucky, it wasn't just solidarity, it was sacrifice. He was called a rebel, a radical, a purist. He wore those titles like armor. Paul was the kind of man who could walk into any courtroom, any jail cell, any protest line, and you'd know someone was there who cared. He didn't flinch when the world turned cruel. He didn't retreat when the easy path called. He was a warrior, not for victory, but for decency. He was flawed. He was fierce. And he was necessary. He looked injustice in the eye and refused to look away. He wasn't perfect. But he was relentless. He may have been one man. But he carried a nation's fury, a people's hope, and the restless voice of conscience. His name was Paul O'Dwyer. And his fight was never just his own.